Longstone Tyres now. We're old car fans through and through. This is the old car I drove into work in this morning. And this is my racing car over here, a Fraser Nash. But that's not what we're here to talk about. What we're here to talk about is classic Ferrari tyres. Okay? Now, the world of classic Ferrari tyres are extremely well catered for currently. We've got pretty much all the most important ones you might need, except for the rear tyre of about 2 years of Ferrari Testarossa. Other than that, we've got a lot covered. So start off with your classic cross-blind tyre, the Pirelli Stella Bianca, for your 1950s sports cars. Things like 250 Europa would have fitted that. And then later in the 50s, Ferrari started using radial tyres with the Pirelli Cinturato here. And what you can see with this first sports car radial tyres, the rounded shoulders of it that make for progressive handling, which cars of that period really benefited from, because they didn't have ultimate grip. They needed to be able to drift in a predictable way. So that's what we do with the Cinturato there. And these are all full profile tyres, so full profile radial tyres. So that means that the height of the sidewall of an early radial tyre is 80% of the width of the tyre. So, and then in 1964, Pirelli developed the ability to make a 205 section tyre. It was enormous in those days. It was a major drama to have such an excitingly fat tyre. And this is here, this is the Pirelli Cinturato 205 VR15 CN72. This came out in 1964, and to have a tyre that fat in 1964 was super cool. And that's fitted to a Ferrari wire wheel, as Ferrari did in the 50s and 60s. And then 1968, low profile tyres were developed. So cars like the Ferrari Dino fitted this tyre here. So that's still a 205 section tyre, but 70% of the width of the tyre is the height of the sidewall, whereas that was 80%. So we're getting low profile there. So that was taken on by the Dino in 1968, and the Daytona started using them again in 1968. Now, what we're moving on today is more low profile tyres than that. What was really fancy technology in the day, the big leap forward in the middle of the 70s, 74, 75, with tyres like this Pirelli P7 here that the Porsche 930 started fitting, and the Porsche Carrera, and that moved on to the rest of the 911s. And at the same time, Ferrari went with Michelin's angle of the low profile, the super low profile tyre with a TRX. Now, the difference with these is this is what they call, this is a 55 profile tyre. So instead of the 80 profile tyre of the late 50s and 60s, we moved on, and then the 70 profile tyre of 1968, and then in the mid 70s we moved on to lower profile tyres than that. So this is a 55 section tyre. So for the 512 BBI like we're talking about today, that had a 240 55 415. So it's 240 millimetres wide, so that's dramatically wider than that 205 of 1964. But it's 55% profile, so the sidewall height is 55% of 240 millimetres. And that fitted onto a 415mm rim. Why 415mm, you might ask yourself? Because all the rest of the cars in the world were using imperial rim sizes. But Ferrari's TRX tyres, the high-tech TRX technology of the day, needed a different rim profile, which I've drawn some graphs to show you here. So, on a standard rim, you can see the flange of it here is quite tall and a sharp angle. So it forced it to have a complicated flex in the sidewall. The standard tyres had like an S-shaped flex in there, which all that extra movement created more friction and heat build-up, but it also didn't disperse the tensions of the tyre as well as the TRX tyre. So just immediately looking at the rim profile on here, we can see that this rim is shallower. It's not such a deep flange on the side of it, utilising more of the sidewall to absorb the vibration of the road. And the way that the bead wire, it's the bead wire here, is held into the carcass is done in a different manner with the TRX as well. And the way this whole structure works is it allows a more simplified flex in the sidewall, like an S flex, a C flex, instead of the S flex of a normal tyre, thereby dispersing the tensions of the tyre more evenly and creating less heat build-up. So that worked really well, and they were able to lower the sidewall height of the tyre and make it really suited to, you know, really high performance supercars of the day, and give you that extra bit of grip, put more rubber in contact with the road, but still in a way that handled well. Now, the first 512s fitted a 215 750 on the front on a 7.5 inch rim, and they fitted a 225 715 on a 9-inch wide rim on the back. That's extremely wide, and that extra width there supports the tyre and stops it from moving side to side so much. So, you know, as you're powering out of a corner, it'll be predictable, and the car will drift in a predictable manner. The back end won't suddenly, you know, the tyre won't flex on the side will then suddenly let go like that. It'll do it in a progressive, predictable manner. So, although the 512 BBI did have the same size tyres front and rear, Ferrari liked to stretch a rear tyre onto the rims to give you that predictability and progressive handling. So the rim widths of the 512 BBI are different. The front rim is is 180mm wide, and the rear rim is 210mm wide. So the same tyre has the characteristics of what it's going to do for the handling of the car changed by putting a wider rim on the back. So, you know, a lot of people might think, oh, let's just stick an 18-inch wheel on there. Well, you're going to lose a lot of that vibration absorption, and it's not going to give as good a ride. Which, you know, about the comfort thing, okay, you might say I'm just going to the racetrack, but it's also kinder to your car to let the front line of your suspension work properly. And the front line of suspension is the tyre, and that takes the shocks out of the road. So, also, you might think, well, if I put a different wheel on, I can buy a cheap tyre. It's not about price. If it was about cheap, you wouldn't buy a Ferrari in the first place. It's about how it handles and the way it works. So, this is a Michelin tyre. This isn't a budget brand tyre. This is Michelin. They have the best build quality you could possibly ask for. The failed tyres that you see blown out the side of the road, they're not Michelin. Michelin's build quality is exceptional. And on top of that, this is a carcass structure that is designed to complement the chassis of your car. And the car was designed with the carcass structure of a tyre like this in mind, so they complement each other. A Ferrari is made out of a selection of top quality components that are all balanced and work together and make that fantastic piece of kit that Ferrari is. And it's Michelin, so the compounds are exceptional. Now, the carcass gives you the handling you want, but we've got more grip, and we've got particularly more grip in the wet because these are modern compounds. They're greener, they're better for the environment, but they also work better in the wet. So it is a high quality product. It will make your car handle the way it should do, and we're pleased that Michelin currently is supporting us with such a brilliant range of classic car tyres. So there you go, 512 BBI tyres, Michelin TRX. If you want any more information, contact Longstone Tyres, and we'll see if we can help you out. Thank you very much.